22 minutes to 9. What does the religion of Islam have to do with the terrorist attacks here in the last 3 months and before that elsewhere in Europe? At London Bridge, the attackers shouted, "This is for Allah." Many Muslims would say that these evil, violent actions have nothing to do with their faith, but the words of at least some of the attackers suggest a link to the religion or a perversion of its ideology. Tariq Ramadan is Professor of Contemporary Islamic Studies at the University of Oxford and the author of several books on Islamic thought and practice, and he's with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could I ask you to address that first question I posed first of all? What does Islam have to do with these attacks?
I think it would be wrong to say it has nothing to do with Islam, because first, they are Muslims, and we have to acknowledge the fact that they are Muslims. We cannot put them outside Islam. The second is that they are quoting verses of the Quran and referring to the Islamic religion. So as Muslims, we cannot say it has nothing to do with Islam, and we know that if you don't understand some verses of the Quran and you use them and you quote them, this could be very, very wrong. So we have a moral duty as Muslims to say and to acknowledge the fact that there are distorted interpretations of Islam, and this is against the principles of Islam, and to take responsibility. This is a moral duty. At the same time, the problem that we have with many media and many politicians is that we keep on repeating this, that there is a consensus among Muslims that this has nothing to do with the principles of Islam, even though people are instrumentalizing religion to kill people. So we have to be heard as well.
You mentioned the distortion of Islamic teaching and particularly verses in the Quran. Can I ask you to address one of those that people often put forward as a source of violence in Islam? Kill the unbelievers wherever you find them.
That's true, and you have and especially in the chapter 9 of the Quran, many verses like this one. And this has to be put in a very specific context of war at the time of the Prophet's life. So you can't just take the verse. So this is why when the people are saying, we have to democratize the reading of the Quran, say, no, be careful. To democratize means that people can just read verses and distort the very meaning.
So that verse was only in the context of a war of self-defense?
Exactly. It's not only war, it's when you have to react to people who are trying to destroy the community based in Medina. So it's very historical, very contextual, and can it be used against the whole and the global message of Islam, which is spread peace wherever you are. You have to be agents of peace, and to be agents of peace means resist the oppressors and at the same time work for justice, work for dignity, and work for equality between human beings.
So if you accept that there is a link, that we cannot say these attacks have nothing to do with Islam, then how should ordinary Muslims or Muslim organizations respond? Do they have a responsibility then to condemn in each and every attack? Because there will be Muslims who say, you know what, an attack like London Bridge has got as much to do with me as it has any innocent bystander in the street.
Yes and no. I think we have to take a stand, and we have, as Muslim scholars, as average Muslims, we have to say how much we disagree with this. Not only this, we also have to remind the people that the great majority of the people who are victims of terrorist attacks are Muslims themselves. So this idea that it's ideological against the West doesn't work. Look at Baghdad, look at Damascus. These are Muslim victims. So we have to take a stand. At the same time, once again, I repeat, we should not reduce the whole discussion about, you have to condemn terrorists. I want, as a citizen, as a British or as a European citizen, us to deal with the causes of what is happening, because it's not only a question of the security, it's not only a question of religion, it has to do with our foreign policy.
But then you get dangerously close to excusing what people have done.
No, to explain is not to justify. If we want to solve the problem...
You are providing an explanation for violence, for murder.
No, you are providing... because you are not born peaceful and they are not born terrorists. We need also to look at the reasons behind this. So there are political reasons when there is no dignity in society, where we in the West, we are supporting dictators. It's normal that you have people saying, what about you? What about your policy? So you are not excusing. Never, ever you can excuse and justify. But we need to understand that there are reasons for the people to lose their mind, to distort religion. So we have to condemn and we have to try to find solutions.
So when an attacker says, this is for Allah, and stabs someone to death, is it correct to call that Islamist?
No, it's not correct. For me, there are Muslim
factual,
Islamists.
isn't it?
Yes, no, but I would speak about violent extremism. I would speak about people distorting religion. So they might be violent Islamists or extremists. But the problem is that even Islamists, we don't know what we are talking about because we are putting all the people in the same box. So you have legalists, there are people who are refusing violence and people who are using violence. So we need to be much more precise in the way we are explaining the situation. We have to qualify. If you deal with violent extremists, deal with violent extremists. If you deal with people who are distorting religion, let us explain and not just come, there is one notion which is clear. In Islam, it's jihad. So they are jihadists, so it's Islamic. No, this is simplistic, this is very dangerous, and it means that we don't understand that Muslims, Western Muslims and Muslims in the Muslim majority countries are part of the solution, and they are not only the problem. The problem is stigmatizing a whole community when we don't get the understanding that we are partners. You and me, we have to do the work against terrorism. And
Professor.
once again, please, don't only tackle the consequences, let us talk about the causes.
Professor Tariq Ramadan, thank you very much.
Thank you.